This story is about birds. Birds that are trying to eat the seeds that I planted in my garden. And we have a resident ground squirrel that lives on this hill. And I can see why he likes it, because there's lots of succulent cactus on this hill. But here's my garden. And I'm growing onions, green onions, among many other crops. And I found that these little critters here are eating my shoots, eating the little sprouts that come up. And it's really bad in case of the beans, but these particular plants here are the zinnias. And so I decided I'm going to have to find a way to keep them out. So I bought some 20 gauge chicken wire, and I'm going to make a cage for it.
What you doing with that poultry netting?
Well, I'm trying to get it unwrapped. They have it wrapped up in wire, and I'm trying to get it where I can unroll it.
Save the wire. You might need it.
Yeah.
Put your top on.
Yeah. Well, maybe that. Don't videotape yet. I need you here. So what I did was take the chicken wire out. Does that look about right, or is that?
Yep.
Wrap it around the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Get the right length, and I made a few snips so I knew I was going to be cutting it in the right place. Okay. And I got smart, so I took it in on the patio and made my cuts there with some tin snips. Later on, I got some wire cutters that did a better job, but this serves the purpose for right now. This was just a prototype. I've never done this before, and I decided I'd run a dowel stick through it, over and under, as I went across to hold everything together. That way it might make it a little bit easier for me to bend the wires over. And it's a little bit tricky, but I think it's worth the effort. Once I got the dowel stick in place, you could see how I could grab the wire and bend it over. And that made the cage stay intact. It didn't spring loose. But you have to be careful with these little tips because they'll cut you. And that's what the basket looks like. Actually, the cylinder. The top for this now. Nothing fancy. Just come over here, get my measurement, start snipping away.
Okay. You roll the wire.
Yeah.
Okay, this is your top. It's upside down. Am I correct?
Well, top is the same as the bottom, I hope. Shouldn't be any difference between the top of the cage and the bottom. Should be the same size. I don't want to use any more chicken wire than I have to get the job done.
Hang on, what are you doing?
I'm bending the wire, chicken wire, because it's coiled. I'm trying to bend it so it's flat, and I'm using my leg as a desktop.
Okay.
And that's how I do it. Bend the wire.
So you flip it over to work on each side.
Yeah.
And that's to straighten it out, or shall we say flatten it out.
Flatten it out, yeah.
Because it's curved.
That's right.
You need to be careful with those wires on your leg.
Yeah, and that's why I'm doing this.
Kind of
better
sharp.
be careful. Okay.
What's the next step?
Well, I don't want to cut myself while I'm mowing the grass.
Right.
Because I bend these over.
I gotcha.
Okay.
It just snag you.
I don't want to get cut, stabbed, so I bend them over. Okay.
Gotcha. I see you got gloves on.
Oh yeah.
So you're bending over the tops?
Yeah, because I don't want to get cut or stabbed. Bend over the tops for safety.
Okay, those are the portions of the wire that's sticking out.
Right.
Okay. This is the edges, right? The top.
Right. Yeah, you better wear leather gloves for this or you're going to get hurt. It'll stab you for sure. And I just don't want to get cut while I'm out there in the yard around the garden. So I'm making it such that there's no protruding sharp edges.
I gotcha. So what are you doing now?
I'm going to size the top. Getting ready to size the top.
Okay.
And I want to minimize my cutting. I'm just trying to keep out birds and squirrels, not trying to keep out people. Got to keep that in mind when you're making this. You get too technical about it. So I'm just gonna cut it as I go across.
Are those waste wires usable?
Probably. You might find a use for them somewhere down the road.
I might be able to use them on my pots to let the potters climb in.
Yeah, it could climb in.
You know, those little ones
Right.
in the pots.
Right.
So, can you save them for me?
Sure will.
Okay, I know I have to be careful with the sharp ends because I'll have to turn those down.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have the customized size of the top.
Yeah. I don't want to work too hard, so I'm going to be using these pull ties.
Okay, let me see the bow ties.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Okay, those
Okay.
are plastic ones, correct?
Yeah, right. They don't need to last forever.
They're long though, aren't they?
Well,
how long are they?
They don't need to be this long. It's what I have on hand.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Could be shorter than that.
A lot shorter.
Those are
Yeah.
long. Okay.
Okay. And we'll stick it through and pull it tight.
And you do that to 4 points, am I correct?
Yes, I do it to 4 points.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do the other side.
And that's equidistant. In that way, it's got an equal pull.
Yes. Make sure you get underneath to grab hold of both sides.
Okay.
Okay. That'll hold it down. Grab me another one. Or
So no more cutting after you tie these. It's just
basically
bending
no.
over to the side.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you cut the ends of those pull ties.
Yes.
Just notice that the long ends are kind of sticking up.
That is correct. So I'll grab these. Pull them up.
It looks like it can be effective to keep both birds and squirrels out.
Well, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won't keep people out, but it'll keep critters out.
You'll need to pull those cages up, of course, when the plant is big enough to stand on its own, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I
'Cause
just cut them.
you'll need the pollinators to come in and pollinate it like bees and stuff.
Yeah. Although I don't think a bee would have any trouble getting in here. But,
They're opportunistic creatures, so you need to have an open thing to make it fruit.
just keep bending it over.
So once a square, now you're turning it into a fitted round for the
That's
top.
correct, yes. Uh-huh. Cuts down on reduces the amount of cutting that I have to do.
That's good.
Speeds the process up.
Not only that, I think the edges on it's effectively turned down.
Yeah.
It doesn't stick you
Yeah. Yeah.
or puncture your skin because the wires are sharp.
Yes.
Did you cut yourself yet, or this
Not
is
yet.
the safe way to do it?
This is a safe way to do it. It hasn't gone through the gloves yet.
I think that's very smart.
Make sure you're wearing gloves that don't have holes in them. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, this is the first one I did. I really tried hard on it. I worked it. I worked it, not with the material, but against it. Try and make it perfect, nice and dome shaped, one piece. Didn't use any pull ties. It's really pretty. And then I thought about what I was trying to keep out. And what I'm trying to keep out is birds and squirrels. It doesn't need to be pretty. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm not trying to sell it at Home Depot or anything. This is just for my garden. So I went over here and I started using this one. And I use this technique, which is basically just some pull ties that hold it in place, and I bend the wire around it. This one took me several hours to do. Worked really hard on it. I actually cut my finger a couple times trying to wrap the wires. It's not worth it. This one I made in probably less than 15 minutes. Okay, at least the top I'm saying. Now this whole cage probably took me another 15 minutes, so a half hour per cage. But this one I think will work as well as this one, although this one looks prettier and more store-bought. But to my knowledge, you can't buy these in a store anyhow, so I'm having to make my own. But this will do the same thing, functionality, as this one. So I'm going with this design, and this has been a learning experience for me.
Fantastic. It's on. Okay, so this is your cattle fence.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is
It comes in a round
25, 50 foot, 100 foot,
100 foot.
different
Okay.
sizes.
All right. So.
Yeah, I'm just going to make some stakes for this.
Okay, and how long is this space-wise? We're looking at 4 inches, 5 inches. We're talking about the square holes there.
Yeah.
How much?
Looks like it's spaced every 2 inches by 4 inches.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to hold them?
Okay.
I'll give them to you.
Okay, you're nipping the corners off. The wires are sticking down, right?
Yeah.
What you're doing.
Okay, well, I'm going to nip it off here. I'm making stakes right now. So I'll hold my chicken cage down.
So it's like, what are you doing? Cutting one rung?
One strip, yeah. I think that's a good place to quit. We'll quit right there.
Oh.
It's a staple,
That's
right?
your staple now.
Now I'm going to make a spike because I like this better.
Okay, so show me the finished product.
Right here.
Wait. Okay, you got it bent up like a hook.
Yeah, and all
So
I
it's
do
like
is
a
shove
hook?
it in the ground. And it'll
All
hold
right.
the chicken wire down.
Okay.
Well, whether it be a staple looking device or a hook, they both work equally well. And this is me shoving it into the ground to hold the cage in place.
You're driving it in, so you're hooking it, okay?
Yep. And here's the finished product, the chicken wire cages. And as you can see, I've got some good sprouts coming up. And the onions were left undisturbed, but it's been especially useful for the bean plants. And I'd like to thank you for watching.